Welcome to another round of Prem Proper here at SDH, another 50-50 week in the Prem, where you end up with half the teams on display with activity going on in FA Cup and other competitions, and AFCON and Asia. So it's a bit of a premium when it comes to competition. We'll go over the juice boxes and remind you what happened last week and get you ready for this week. We've also got our 3D with Drew Dickinson, the Drew Dickinson diatribe coming up in short order here on SDH. Once again, let's go back and go through what happened last week to get us prepared for what is going on this week. We'll go through the matches, we'll get you through the table, and we'll go through some of the gossip, rumor, and innuendo, things left unsaid as we head into the weekend and let you know where things are in the Premier League. Last week, with results, remember, half of the teams were active, half of the teams were not. Burnley and Luton Town was a 1-1 draw to plus 247 to start the weekend off on Friday Night Football. And J.J. Watt, new part owner in Burnley with the match at Turf Moor, was less than pleased at a VAR call that did not go his team's way. He went on to the 280-character app to voice his displeasure and was found in violation of posting video from the Premier League since he shot it from his phone. He had to go through all the protocols to apologize in a virtual manner and abide by all of the protocols that are there to make sure that you don't have copyrighted video on your 280-character app profile without their permission. And so he apparently was repentant and was able to get back to commenting when it came to American football the next day. But J.J. Watt less than pleased about a foul call that was not called, and it ends up at a 1-1 draw with a late equalizer for Luton. Big point for them at 90 plus 3. Chelsea over Fulham by the final of 1-0 at a minus 156. Manchester City in a crazy match, 5-goal thriller, over Newcastle at Newcastle at a minus 145. Everton and Villa, a goalless draw to plus 256. Manchester United and Spurs, pretty active, a 4-goal thriller 2-2 at a plus 298. So that sets up your standings and where things are as we head into match week 21 for some and match week 20 for others. Liverpool and Manchester City 1-2. Aston Villa, after 21 matches, is also at 43 points, but they are well behind in goal difference. That's your 1, your 2, and your 3. Arsenal, number 4, at 40 points. They are ahead of Spurs on goal difference. We will hear from Mikel Arteta coming up in just a little bit. West Ham is at 34 points to start group number 2, as we phrase them, here on Prem and Proper at SDH. West Ham is at 34 points. They are in 6th. Manchester United, 32 points. They're in 7th. Brighton in European competition, 31 points ahead of Chelsea by 1 goal, as Chelsea has now won 4 of 5, and they're at 31 points in 9th place. They have 21 matches played, however, same as Newcastle. Newcastle has lost 4 in a row, and they're at 29 points in 10th. Wolves have won 3 in a row. They've rocketed up the table. They have a match in hand on the folks that are directly above them at 28 points in 11th. Bournemouth had won 3 in a row. They lost last time out, and they are at 25 points starting group number 3. We'll go ahead and start it there in 12th. Fulham's lost 4 of 5. They're at 24 points. Crystal Palace has hit each of the columns once in their last 3. They're at 21. Forest has won 2 in a row under Nuno. They're at 20 points at 5, 5, and 10. Brentford has lost 6 of 7. They are at 19 points, 16th place. News from Thomas Frank coming up in just a little bit. Everton has played 21 matches. Brentford, by the way, has 2 matches in hand, and they played 19 matches, 19 points. Everton, right now, with the point deduction from the Premier League, they're at 17 points. Finally got their first point in 4 matches last time out. 1 point ahead of Luton Town. Luton Town has hit each column once in their last 3. They're at 16 points in the relegation zone. Burnley's at 12 points. Snapping a 2-game losing streak with the 1-1 draw. Sheffield United is at 9 points after 20 matches, and that is the standings. So let's get into the principles, and let's hear from some of the folks getting ready for this upcoming weekend. Mikel Arteta and the possibility of Mikel Arteta chasing after folks in the window. Let's hear from our friends at Sky Sports News about that prospect and from Mikel Arteta, his own self, courtesy of his club, Arsenal.
Mikel Arteta said that they are ready to attack the second half of the season. Let's go live to James Cole right now. James, good afternoon to you. We spoke to Mikel Arteta, and as you might expect, 13 days to go in the transfer window, he was asked about potential incomings and outgoings. What did he have to say?
Hi, Arsenal and Arteta's stance on transfers has not changed during the winter break. They are being linked with centre forwards. Arsenal fans would love them to sign a number 9, but Arteta says that is simply unrealistic. Namely, they're being linked with Ivan Toney and Karim Benzema, but it's unlikely Arsenal could afford either due to profit and sustainability rules. They'd have to sell before they could buy. Players being linked with an exit here, Cedric Suarez and Mohamed El Neni, and now today, Emile Smith-Rowe. We understand West Ham are interested in loaning the Arsenal midfielder, but Arteta says he wants to keep him.
Mikel Arteta said that they are ready to attack the second half of the season. Let's go live to James Cole right now. James, good afternoon to you. We spoke to Mikel Arteta and
keep doing what we are doing and small margins to improve. That's it.
Roy Hodgson in the opposition dugout, 76 years old. Can you see yourself managing at 76?
You always ask me that question. At the moment, I cannot see that happening, but you never know. This job is extremely addictive, and when you do it like I do with people that I love as well and respect so much, you never know. It's difficult to find a better place or a better thing to do in your life.
What do you think the key is to lasting that long as a manager in
the
this
passion for and the love for the game, that's for sure. And then enjoying and the company and the people you work with, and then being very good at dealing with defeat, for sure, because all the matches at the end we lose more than we win, and I think you have to be really good at that.
All right, so let's get into the matchups with Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Arsenal at a minus 345 to win at the Emirates, plus 487 on the draw. Crystal Palace to win on the road is a plus 1054. Next matchup is Brentford and Nottingham Forest at the G-Tech at 12:30. Brentford a minus 122, draws a plus 284. Nottingham Forest is a plus 349. It's the return of Ivan Toney. Thomas Frank has said Toney will start and will be the captain. Here's Thomas Frank on this new signing that they got here in the window, courtesy of Brentford their own selves.
A lot's made of his goals and what his goals could mean to Brentford, but can you speak a little bit about his leadership qualities? And he said in an interview this week that if anybody's feeling sorry for themselves around the team, he's going to try and help drag them up. Is that the kind of thing you've sensed this week?
Not only this week. That's what I sensed the last, two and a half year. No, sorry, 3.5 year. Isn't it 3.5 year? Yeah, 3.5 year. With Ivan, he's a special character in many ways. He's a fantastic person to be around. I think I can speak for myself, staff, players, that the energy he brings, the smile, the positivity, every day at the training ground is a massive thing. And then on the pitch, he drags people. He wants to win. He want to help the team. So of course it's a massive boost. Said before, it's like a new signing. I think there is an argument. Of course, everyone needs to prove themselves again, but there's an argument that he's maybe the second best striker in the Premier League right now. Last year, I think he was the third after Kane and Haaland. Now he's the second, in my opinion. Of course, he needs to prove it again. Same with a coach, with a team, with any player. But I see an unbelievable commitment that he want to go out there and help the team score goals and hopefully win.
Sunday, Sheffield United in the early game, a plus 243 at Bramall Lane hosting West Ham at a plus 121. Your draw is a plus 245. Late game, Bournemouth hosting Liverpool at the Vitality. Liverpool, once again, no Mo Salah, and he has an injury, hamstring injury that is going to be looked at AFCON, had to be pulled from the match last time out on Thursday. So Liverpool shorthanded offensively to minus 133. The draw and Bournemouth both hovering around plus 333. Brighton and Wolves is Monday Night Football at 2:45 Eastern Time, and that is Brighton at a minus 154. Your draws a plus 336, and Wolves are a plus 400. 100. When you also look at what is going on with Newcastle right now and Kieran Trippier, and interest from the Bundesliga, our friends at Transfer Talk and our friends at Sky Sports News discussed what's going on currently with Newcastle, where you could have an all-injured starting 11 and a starting 11.
He's helped take a Newcastle side from the relegation zone to qualifying for the Champions League to reaching the League Cup final. Newcastle was second bottom of the table when he was signed, which just shows just what an incredible rise it's been for Newcastle. Yes, they've had difficult times of late, and the recent form has been a concern both for Newcastle and for Trippier in particular. A lot of that has been due to injuries, but even this season he's created more chances than anybody else in that Newcastle side. 7 assists this season, but he's admitted himself that personally he has struggled in the last few weeks. He's been costing Newcastle in key moments against Everton, 2 big errors against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, and we even saw against Spurs as well, and we even saw last weekend in the game against Man City, he let Oscar Bob get in and score the winner at St James's Park. And he has admitted himself he's nowhere near his usual levels. His usual levels have been quite remarkable. Yes, Tino Livramento is waiting in the wings, and he is seen as a long-term Newcastle right-back. But I think it would still be a surprise to see somebody who's been so significant for Newcastle over the last 2 years, somebody who's so key to that dressing room. We can see how big he is, especially in this period now. It's a crucial juncture in Newcastle's season where it could go either way. They could put themselves back in contention for Europe, or they could continue to slip down towards mid-table.
It's only his first dip in form. You know, I think as football fans, we also sort of only remember the short term a lot of times, and sometimes you don't look back as to what a player's actually done. And form is something that happens to a lot of players, whether you're in the best form of your life or the best form of your career, or sometimes in the worst in a couple of months. And like you said, I think the interesting thing there is Kieran will highlight that himself. And he will know, he's dropped off the last couple of months. But in terms of what he's done since he's been there, I think it would be a really unwise move, especially with the situation Newcastle are in, to sort of say, well, we've got Livramento now, it's OK, we can let Kieran Trippier go. That's not how it works. I think they need to have a lot of planning for that as well, and not just think of the short term that he's maybe dropped off in the last few games.
Yeah, Flex has taken the words out of my mouth, really. Players are allowed a dip. This is the first dip he's had, as Flex says, at Newcastle. He's been an unbelievable signing for them. You look at the players that they've brought in over the new ownership. He's probably right up there in the top 3, I'd say, as the most important players to have come in alongside Bruno and Isak, perhaps. And I just think with Trippier and this link to Bayern, there's no upside to Newcastle if Kieran Trippier's to leave. Unless the player has a heavy desire to move to Bayern Munich, I can't see what the upside would be.
So that sets us up for the 3D, and we know what that means. It is time for Drew to yell about Manchester United and anything else on his mind. So take it away, Joey. Here's Drew.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Drew Dickinson, and welcome to this week's 3D. Fortunately for me, Manchester United have an off week. They return to action next Sunday in the FA Cup. Earlier this month, we saw Manchester United beat Wigan Athletic away 2-0 to advance to the 4th round of the FA Cup. And next Sunday, United will travel down to South Wales to take on Newport County. The Ironsides compete in the EFL League 2, the 4th tier of the English Football League system, where they are currently 17th place. Just for a little context here, this is the same league as Wrexham. So on paper, this should be a walk in the park for United, but we'll discuss that more next week as the week develops on. Probably talk more a little bit about this in next Friday's 3D, so stay tuned for that. Now, as we all know, the transfer window is open, and as far as Manchester United are concerned, there are only some outgoings, mostly loans, obligations to buy. Not too many of what I would like to see and what we all want to see incomings, but we'll talk about that here in just a few. Hannibal recently sealed a loan deal to Sevilla in Spain. They are, of course, in La Liga. They're set to feature an option to buy at £20 million, including add-ons. And what I like the most about this, there is a fixed buyback clause if they do decide to trigger that option to buy. They as in Sevilla. But then that will be for Hannibal. Donny van de Beek, of course, off to Germany. Eintracht Frankfurt to be exact. They'll pay United a minimal loan fee, just enough to cover the majority of Van de Beek's wages. There's also an option to buy as well included in that agreement, and that's going to be set at about 11 million pounds, plus about 3 million pounds in potential add-ons. Jadon Sancho, of course, back at Dortmund, and we'll just leave it at that. 20-year-old defender Alvaro Fernandez, who was on loan at Granada in Spain, will now finish the season on loan in Portugal at Benfica. Benfica also has an option to sign Fernandez permanently with an option to buy. The deal will be set at about 6 million pounds, plus, of course, 3 to 4 million in potential add-ons with the option to buy commencing when he starts 50% of the matches. So that's going to be key to keep an eye on with Fernandez. He's very young. I would like to have seen him have a go in that defense for United, but I digress. Looks, if Ten Hag doesn't see it, then, that's it. As far as incomings, only rumors at this point. We heard the insane United are going to do a surprise splash for Vinicius Jr. from Real Madrid. And, I don't like to deal too much in rumor and innuendo, but I'd honestly, I'd be shocked if United did any business, on the incoming end, of course, this January. But if anything does happen, I'll let you all know as soon as possible. But I do expect big business over the summer. De Ligt, Braithwaite, all Jean-Claude Tabido, all center backs who United are rumored to want to bring in. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. I do hope Sir Jim and Ineos flex their muscles early being this summer. But of course, with that being said, we will have to wait and see. As we said Monday, the Premier League lineup for the weekend, not very sexy, but I'm sure I'll be proven wrong. Arsenal Crystal Palace early tomorrow morning look to be one of the games of the weekend. We like to joke on the show, it's after Christmas, so it's time for Arsenal to implode. So another must-win game for them. But that's going to do it for this week's 3D. Thank you so much for listening. And of course, we will speak to everyone next week. All right, we'll send it back over to you, John.
Thanks to Joey, and thanks to all of you as we've gone through another edition of Prem and Proper here at SDH. So it is another weekend of FA Cup after this, and then we get back into short turns, January 30, 31st, February 1st. That is your next go-round of the full schedule of the Premier League. When you look at competition in the FA Cup, just to kind of give you juice boxes, that is the 25th and the 26th and the 27th. So once again, full weekend, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is your weekend of activity in the FA Cup. 25th and 26th involving teams in the Premier League. On the 25th at 2:45, Bournemouth favored at the Vitality against Swansea City at a -323. Next Friday, and we'll go back over these FA Cup numbers as well. Nottingham Forest on the road at Bristol City. Bristol City, the 1-0 winners over West Ham. Nottingham Forest at a +102 on the road. Bristol City a +254. Draw is a +248. Chelsea and Villa. Chelsea a +106. Aston Villa is a +238. Your draw is a +266. And Sheffield Wednesday is an underdog at home against Coventry City, and Tottenham is a underdog at home at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium against Manchester City. Manchester City comes in at a -169. Draws a +342. Spurs are a +388. That's another round of Prem and Proper. Thanks to Drew. Thanks to you for hanging out with us as you always do. Enjoy the action overseas this weekend in whatever form you wish to take it in. We'll be back with you again Monday morning for a new round of SDH. We'll be back with you next week for another round of Prem and Proper. Prem and Proper, the review, Monday morning, 10:30 on the network. So for everybody here at SDH, I'm just John. Enjoy the action overseas. We'll catch up with you again next week.